Hey, what's going on everyone, Vasco here and welcome back to the channel. And did you know that a new engine supplier might enter Formula 1 sooner than you think? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm actually talking about the Volkswagen Group getting into Formula 1. And this is something that's been luring in the background for the last couple of decades because Volkswagen has been there in the discussion for every single power unit negotiation that's been there for the last couple of years. So they were already in the background when the rules were being written for the turbo hybrid V6 power units that we currently have, but due to some complications they ended up not getting into Formula 1 back then because they thought that the current spec of Formula 1 engines would be just too expensive for them. And with hindsight they seem to be right, because if you look at the investments that Mercedes, Renault, Ferrari and Honda have made into the V6 power units, it's really gotten crazy and gotten really out of hand. And this is a lot of money, especially for engines that are not road relevant at all. So you see hybrid power units in the road, yes, but you don't see the MGU-Hs and the MGU-Ks and the electronic systems and everything in the road cars. So it's been a very expensive war for a product that at the end of the day won't be able to be used in the roads and in the cars that will actually make the money that they could then pour back into Formula 1. So it was probably a good call from Volkswagen Group not to come in 2014, because all the manufacturers that were in Formula 1 already had a major head start, and you could see by Honda that was the only manufacturer that came in late, how far back they were when they joined Formula 1. And with hindsight, it was probably a good decision from Volkswagen not to enter in that particular occasion. But now there might be a very good opportunity for them to come in a very cost-effective way, and let me explain to you why. Okay, so as you know, Honda has pulled out of Formula 1 already, and they have announced that this will be their last year back in Formula 1. And I'm guessing that Honda will return sometime in the future because they can't seem to get away from Formula 1 for a very long time. But this has left Red Bull without an engine. And what Red Bull has done to solve the situation is that they actually bought the intellectual property or the rights to use the engine from Honda. And since there will be an engine freeze from about 2022 to 2025, Red Bull will actually have a lot of time to develop their own facilities, hire the right people and develop the engine themselves. But developing the engine is actually a very tricky department and it requires a lot of experience and a lot of investment. So partnering with an automotive brand that already has the know-how of how to build an engine, that already has a very good tradition in motorsport. So if you look at Audi and Porsche, they in the WEC, they already have a very vast experience with hybrid power units and developing race cars that win. So it would be a very nice move from Red Bull to actually make a partnership with Volkswagen or actually sell them the engine division. And then we could have a Red Bull Volkswagen, Red Bull Audi or Red Bull Porsche team, which would actually be very fun to watch. Then Volkswagen could just take over from Red Bull's facilities that in 2025 would already have the right people and the right equipment there, and then get in Formula 1 in a very cost efficient manner and with a head start that most Formula 1 engine manufacturers that just came into the sport don't have the luxury of having. But why would they be getting back into Formula 1 right now? What's about this specific timing that makes sense for the Volkswagen Group? So there have been some clues over the last couple of weeks that may explain this. So the first clue is that Volkswagen Group is already invested into the 2025 regulations because they have been going to all the meetings, and Porsche and Audi execs have been at all the meetings regarding the engine, and they actually have a vote on the matter because they are an engine manufacturer and they may get into Formula 1. So they have a vote because they are in these meetings. And something that's been rumored and all the teams I've been talking about is that the MGU-K will be dropped for the 2025 regulations. Hey, Editor Vasco right here, and I just realized I made a mistake during the video where I actually was referring to the MGU-K when I actually meant the MGU-H, but I actually made a mistake and explained the MGU-K in the original cut. So let me fix this by actually explaining what the MGU-H does and why it's being dropped. So we know that in regular road cars, just like in Formula 1 cars, there's a turbo system. And the way that this works is that it uses the exhaust gases to spin up a turbine that then is connected to a compressor, and that compressor compresses the intake air for the engine in order to make the air more dense when it goes into the cylinder and to the combustion chamber and make the combustion more effective and generate more power for the same amount of fuel. So in regular turbocharged engines, there's actually a little bit of a lag between the time when the driver presses the gas pedal and the time that the turbo spins and the compressor spins and where you actually get more power. So this is called the turbo lag, and it's a time difference between you pressing the gas pedal and the car actually generating the most amount of power due to the turbo and the compressor doing their job. So what the MGU-H does is actually it uses the power from the energy store with a shaft connected to the compressor in order for that compressor to be always spinning and always delivering the max power and basically eliminating turbo lag. And what this does is that it makes the car a lot more predictable and makes it so that the engine is always receiving that nice compressed air and always generating the peak power it can generate. So if the turbo is always spinning, why is Volkswagen and every single other power unit manufacturer against it? So in road cars and in most other motorsports, this system is actually not used because, think with me, it makes really no sense to use battery from a road hybrid car in order to produce more power and to keep the compressor spinning, because in road cars that instant maximum power is really not that important, and you could probably use just the battery power for that instant torque effect, since peak power is not that important in road cars and road situations where efficiency matters more. And in other motorsports that are going hybrid, this system is not used because it takes a lot of added complexity to the engine, and it makes the engines very tricky to development and very expensive to development, especially for a part that can never really be used in road cars because it's so expensive and its effect is really based on peak performance, so it doesn't really have any road or other motorsport relevancy. So this is why the VW Group doesn't want the MGU-H to be in the regulations, because it's a part where they would need to pour millions of dollars in development, where they would not be able to use any of the technology or the research for their road cars. So in the rest of the video, I'm sorry, I'm going to refer to it as the MGU-K because I made a mistake, but here is the explanation of what the MGU-H does and why it's being dropped. Now back to the video. Something that plays also very well into this rumor is actually Williams, because if you know Jost Capito, he's the team principal at Williams and the CEO, and he's someone that has come in from directing the Volkswagen Rally division, and he was actually very successful. They won a lot of championships with him in charge, but he already has those Volkswagen ties and he already has a lot of love for that brand. And something that you may have seen in the last couple of weeks is that, contrary to what Mercedes won, he actually took Alex Albon, a Red Bull driver, to their team. And what this may suggest is that Williams could probably switch this Volkswagen Red Bull powertrain because check this out. Jost Capito is a Volkswagen man. They are taking in a Red Bull driver, and Red Bull is in talks with Volkswagen in order for them to buy their engine division. So this is kind of a love triangle between these three, and it's something that looks ever more likely, because taking Alex Albon against the will of Toto Wolff was really a big blow for that perfect harmony that we thought that the Williams-Mercedes relationship was. So if you look at it this way, Volkswagen would be getting into Formula One with someone that they trust in Jost Capito, with pre-built facilities and know-how in Red Bull powertrains, and in an era where the MGU-K will be dropped, which was their major reservation about the 2014 regulations that made them not come in the first place. So I know that these are only rumors, but it's something that we need to keep an eye on, because it would be great to have 4 engine manufacturers back into Formula One. It's something that we really need, and Formula One really needs a competition of having 4 engine manufacturers in order to have diversity and in order to attract teams and lower the cost of the power units. So this would be a perfect fit for Formula One and for Volkswagen. So I really hope this happens and that they can come in 2025 with their own team or powering Red Bull. And this would be also a perfect opportunity because they would be powering 3 teams in Williams, AlphaTauri and Red Bull. So we would have a lot of engine diversity in the grid, which would be amazing. This is why I think that the Formula One group may be getting into Formula One, and let me know which teams do you think that they are going to power, and let me know if you think that this is a good move for Volkswagen and if it's good for Formula One. So this has been it for this video, and if you enjoyed, why not watch my latest video on why Mercedes' strategy at Monza was almost perfect and almost got them the win. I will leave it right here. So this has been it for this video. Let me know if you enjoyed in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!